What's going on, Felt fans? Welcome in to Around the Felt, our Week 11 breakdown of everything, all things Week 11. Crazy slate of games. It's a fun weekend. I'm your host, Colin Tong. Joining me, as always, Reagan Loescher. Reagan, how you doing on this fine Monday night? You a little chilly? What's going on with the hat?
Yeah, bro, I am chilly. I'm in the garage right now, and it's not insulated, so in the studio, but definitely chilly. Gotta keep the head warm.
See,
Gotta keep the
those are
head
the
warm.
types of things that Reagan does for all you Felt fans. Just recording in the freezing cold garage, just to get the content out and just talk ball. That's how much he loves ball.
Yeah, bro. Yeah, bro. I did. What can I say? What can I say? What can I say?
Well, Reagan, unfortunately, we got to talk about a lot of bad news. That is injury news. And we're going to start with the starting quarterback for the Atlanta Falcons, Michael Penix Jr., partially torn ACL. This is going to be his third ACL surgery. The other two were on his other knee. Now, for a quarterback that's 25 years old, his third ACL injury, this is really bad. And people are starting to bring it up like, hey, do the Falcons have to consider a new long-term solution at quarterback, right? Because it's three major knee injuries to a guy that's 25 years old. That's never a recipe for success for a quarterback. It's unfortunate for Penix. You know, his play's been up and down this year, but it's back to Kirk Cousins in Atlanta.
Yeah, I mean it's unfortunate. I mean, this has been a wash of a season. I think it's a very good shot they move on from Raheem Morris as well, but and I know Drake London might miss next week, so it's really going downhill in Atlanta. I mean, at least for Kirk Cousins, like this is his audition for another team. I think his time in Atlanta is done, but at least the next 7 games is his audition to get a future opportunity next year. And I think somebody will end up trading for him because I do think he'll have the opportunity to ball out over the next 7. I mean, what do you got? What does he have
Yeah.
to lose? He'll probably put up some big numbers over the next couple weeks.
Yeah, he said he wanted to be traded so he could be a starter somewhere. Obviously, that opportunity never presented itself, but now he's going to be the starter in Atlanta. For a Falcons team that's sitting at 3-7 now, I believe, doesn't even have their first round pick. It's going to the 8-2 Los Angeles Rams. And that's why it was such a bold move trading up for James Pierce Jr. the way they did it. But now you got to lay in that bed. So I wouldn't be surprised the GM and head coach are fired in the offseason. Arthur Blank, not the most patient owner.
No, he's definitely not one of the more patient owners. So I definitely think they're going to move on from him in the offseason.
Other injury news with the Falcons, you mentioned it, Drake London, LCL. It's week to week, so nothing major, but yeah, he's probably going to miss next week for fantasy teams gunning for the playoffs. I mean, just a terrible blow the way Drake London's played the past month plus. So Atlanta, it's tough sledding. I mean, it's going to have to be the Bijan Robinson show, I'd imagine, next week to try to salvage their season, but they're just losing guys left and right in the offense.
Well, I mean, there's also no reason to not to not sit him and let him take his time coming back. I mean, why would you rush him back? Their season's over. So, I wouldn't be shocked if it ends up being multi-week because I don't see a reason to put him in unless he's 100%.
Yes. Lane Johnson out 4 to 6 weeks with a foot injury for the Eagles. Oh, man, that offense that has not looked great. I mean, the defense is really holding it down in Philadelphia right now. They're still winning games. They're still sitting pretty atop the NFC East. So won't affect them in terms of playoffs, like winning the division. It could certainly affect their seeding because they're in the hunt for the number 1 seed, and it's a tight race to the top of the NFC this year. Losing Lane Johnson for an offensive line that's taken a step back this season is just a brutal blow.
Yeah, it is. It really is a brutal blow. So we've already seen Saquon in that running game struggle to get going. I mean, really, the offense has been terrible the past 2 weeks. The defense has been the big storyline. I mean, we'll get into that game, as we move on. But I mean, that's such a big factor to why they've struggled to run the ball this year. That and the fact that there's not a lot of design runs with Jalen Hurts, which I think is hurting them as well.
Yeah, interesting.
But
that is interesting.
There's not a whole lot of creativity going on in this offense. So not a big fan of the offense already, and I can't imagine this is going to help them anymore. So I think there's maybe worse days ahead for this Eagles offense. But the thing is, they just keep winning. Just keep winning.
They just find a way, dude. They just find a way. Aaron Rodgers, big win for Pittsburgh this weekend, but he has a left wrist injury, a slight fracture. Obviously, that's his non-throwing wrist. So he should be able to play, but there's a chance he misses time. And with the way Baltimore looks right now, the Steelers can't afford to miss Aaron Rodgers. It could be the Will Howard show, potentially getting his first NFL start.
That would be cool. That would be cool. I mean, I would be shocked if they don't stay with Mason Rudolph, but I would love Will Howard because I was a big Dynasty guy. I was interested in just saying, before they, when we were doing our Dynasty recap thing and before they brought in Rodgers, I'm like, listen, this guy's got a clear path. So I'm excited if he does play just because of his athleticism that he showcased at Ohio State last year. And then I believe it was Kansas State prior. So, I think you can open the playbook a little bit more with his legs and maybe they'll get some more creativity. Obviously, he doesn't have the arm and, the talent of Aaron Rodgers in that sense and the smartness, but would be interesting to see if he does get the opportunity.
Agreed there. And to round out our news, unfortunately, we have another spitting incident. Ja'Marr Chase supposedly spit on Jalen Ramsey, and the words exchanged after were not so pleasant between them. Ja'Marr Chase denied the allegations, but video evidence seemed to show that I did not spit on that man. But allegations seem to have been proven correct with video evidence that he did, in fact, spit on Jalen Ramsey. So for a Bengals team that vibes were high last week, dude. Like Joe Burrow activated 21-day practice window open. He can return, win some games, beat Pittsburgh, get back in this division race. Nope, they get their asses kicked by the Steelers. Now Ja'Marr Chase is out next week.
Yeah, not ideal. Definitely not ideal. This team is going to fall apart pretty quickly. I mean, they're still very much in this division race. They still get to play Baltimore twice. So I'm not going to sit. And also, Pittsburgh, they split the series with, and they're still only 2 games back of Pittsburgh. But massive blow. You would think, going against the 9-2 Patriots, that really bodes well for them. Christian Gonzalez will now shout out T. Higgins. So it's just going to put that much more stress on the team. Got to be smarter if you're Ja'Marr Chase. And you're talking about Drake London being out, but this is another one. Fantasy playoffs are gearing up, and these guys have already had their buys. So you're basically getting hit with another bye week for them.
Oh, yeah, that's really tough. That's really tough.
I think both guys have. I'm not. I'm pretty sure both teams have had the bye. If not, that's really brutal. Then let me check that out because that could be.
I know
really
Cincinnati's
brutal.
had their bye. I know that as a fact.
Cincinnati has. Atlanta has as well. So they both had their bye at least because that could have gotten really brutal for both teams.
Yeah, for sure. That wraps up the news. What do we got in the mailbag?
Yeah, a lot of people submitted. I know last podcast we didn't have as much as we'd hope, being 0, but this time we had 6 different people submit.
Wow.
The first one is a man or woman. Not going to assume there because I'm a good guy like that. Identifying as Big Dick.
Wow. Okay.
This person wants to know, give me a 4-leg parlay. I want the defensive player. Oh, wait, hold on. He wants us to give him a 4-leg parlay with the DPOY, the offensive player of the year, the MVP, and the coach of the year. So I guess at this point, who you think is for all those.
Man.
So that's he really wanted DPOY first. So let's just rattle it off pretty quickly here. I'm still going to go with Myles Garrett. I mean, he's just been unstoppable this year, getting sacks all over the field right now. It's kind of hard to not think, that he won't win it. I mean, even with the Cleveland losing, he's just so freaking good. He is worth every penny. He has 15 sacks already this year. So in 10 games to have 15 sacks, I mean, he's on pace to set the record. So I don't see how you can't give it to him.
You got to go Myles Garrett. All right,
I
would love to give my boy Brian Burns some love, but Garrett has more sacks, and
yeah, he's very, very much on pace to break Michael Strahan's record, and he could easily at this point, only needing 8 sacks to beat it, do that in the next 6 games to do it in the same amount of time as well.
Yeah, so that's a great one. I do want to give a shout out to Christian Gonzalez. He's been absolutely locked down for New England too. Rare for a DB to do it. I know Surtain did it last year, but
bro, he's making a name. Though. He was getting cooked by Adonai Mitchell. He just got lucky that Mitchell just can't catch, but he was actually getting cooked in that game. I don't know if you noticed that there were like 3 or 4 times the ball hit him in the hands when he just cooked them. So that does make me. I mean, we'll get into it in a little bit. That does make me excited for him. He's just got to learn how to actually catch the damn ball. So who's your offensive player of the year? Is it JT? Because it's JT for me.
Yeah, devil's
how could it
advocate,
not be?
JSN, I guess. But like, if Jonathan Taylor is going to break the touchdown record, that seems like a lock.
I mean, dude, yeah, he's got 15. He's got 15 rushing, 2 receiving. He's already at 17 touchdowns in 10 games.
Coach of the year is tough because you can go many different routes with coach of the year. You can go, of course, Shane Steichen, the way the Colts are. You can go Sean Payton with Denver 9-2, leading the AFC West by a pretty
Vrabel, of
wide
course.
margin now. Vrabel with New England, with them being 9-2 as well. Also, like Kyle Shanahan won't win it because it's the Niners, but the fact that the Niners are 7-4 with
all the
all of
injuries,
those
yeah.
injuries is crazy. Crazy.
I'm actually gonna go with Mike McDonald out in Seattle. I'm so impressed with what he's done with that team. I know they were a 10-win team last year, but like to bring Darnold over, and I know obviously he's coming off the worst game of his career that we've seen with Seattle, and really since he was a Jet. But I don't care. I'm super impressed. I did not think this team would be a double-digit win team again, and they're right in the thick of things and right in the middle of a very, very tight NFC West.
Yeah, I'm ultimately gonna go with Mike Vrabel because they won 4 games last year, and now they're sitting 9-2 and dominating their division. So that'll be my pick.
That obviously is a good one as well. And then the last one he wanted to know was the MVP. Who's your MVP?
I am gonna stick with Jonathan Taylor, dude. Call me the running back homer because that was my position, but like I'm gonna go with Jonathan Taylor. I just think what he's doing for that offense is just absolutely unbelievable. If he scores 30 touchdowns, I think he has it. And for me, it's like, okay, Drake May's been awesome and they're 9-2, but like that schedule and how easy it is and how they played like the top 7, 8 worst teams in the league before week 11, like that matters to me. And then with Stafford in LA, like, yeah, they're also 8-2. And Stafford's been playing great, but I just can't deny the fact that their defense is out of this world right now, and he's got Puka Nacua and Devontae Adams. So I'm going to go with
I
Jonathan
actually will
Taylor.
go with Stafford just because he's like top 5 in all quarterback metrics, and the 27-2 touchdown interception ratio is crazy, and the fact that he's doing it at like in his late 30s. So, and the funny thing is, coming into this season, we're like, is he going to play week 1? How many more years do we have left? Like, a lot of people were saying stay away from this offense and like so worried about Stafford's injury concerns, and he's having the best year of his career.
There's the
Like
back injury. Yeah.
I'm not gonna. I mean, you could say this probably is the best year of his career because he put up some crazy numbers in Detroit, but it was meaningless. Like his best season was the 41-16 where he had over 5,000 passing yards. But I would argue this is a better season because they're winning games and it's not garbage time work. Like he's doing it like well, blowing the bricks off of teams.
That's valid. You could absolutely go with Stafford. I go Stafford over May personally.
Yeah, definitely an interesting debate or question, but we'll see. I mean, Jonathan Taylor's also a good one, obviously. But let's move on. Ryan, Mr. Around the Octagon.
Nice.
He wants to know, is Jayden Daniels still a viable option at quarterback if he returns on November 30th? He's not returning. He's not returning though. There's no way.
I doubt he returns. Like, what are the commies' record now? I mean, it's
3-8.
3-8. So, yeah, 3-8 with the loss to Miami and Madrid.
Bro, there's just like no way the Niners are 7-4 right now at the 7 seed. So, they would have to win out and then have like so much out. Like I think they're one more loss and they're eliminated.
I mean, you even have Detroit at 6-4 on the outside looking in. Like it's not mathematically impossible right now, but it seems like in reality impossible for them to make the playoffs. And with Jayden having 3 injuries this year, why bring him back? It doesn't make sense, especially with the elbow. I'm sure there's a high risk of re-injury. Now, of course, if he does come back, it's Jayden Daniels. You're going to start him every week, assuming you don't have another stud quarterback on your roster. But
yeah,
I just don't. I agree with you. I think it's unlikely he comes back this season.
Yeah, he's not. There's just no way. But let's move on. I mean, for some reason he did, of course, play him because of his legs alone and the fact that they're going to be trailing in most games because that defense is ass. But let's move on. Caleb, Mr. Around the Bases now. Did anyone hit any parlays this weekend? I personally got rinsed.
Yeah, I got pretty rinsed too, man. I was Amon-Ra St. Brown away from hitting a big touchdown parlay, and unfortunately, the Lions can't score outdoors these days. So, yeah, I did not hit shit. I got rinsed on Sunday as well.
Yeah, I didn't have anything crazy as well. Nothing to write home about. He wants to know, what is your level of confidence surrounding the Chiefs at this point?
I'm still fairly confident the Chiefs, despite their record. Like they just got to get into the dance. I know, like they're actually like on the outside looking in right now, I think, but
Yeah, they're
like
back.
just
They're
get them in
behind.
the dance. Like you're gonna tell me if
They're
they're on
behind
the
the
road as a
Jaguars.
7 seed, like playing against a 2 seed, like say the 2 seeds New England and they have Kansas City. You're telling me Kansas City's not gonna be favored in that game on the road? I think they will be. Like it's Patrick Mahomes against anybody in the playoffs. You're gonna go with Patrick Mahomes. So I'm still confident. If I had to go like 1 to 10, I'd say like a 7. Like I don't know if they
Yeah.
have what they need to win a Super Bowl this year. I don't know. The biggest thing with Kansas City is last year they went like 10-0 in one score games. They're 0-5 in one score games this year. It's a complete flip of the script. And that's why year over year, one score games, it's so difficult to like repeat that. It just, the game changes, right? It's one play here or there can decide the outcome of a game if you're going to be one score games like that. So they're just not winning those games this year that they were. But, they're going to revert to the mean there as well. They're going to start winning these close games and they're going to look like the juggernaut they've always been.
Yeah, and I mean, I guess technically, they're 2 games back right now of the wild card. The Jaguars have the final one at 6-4, but they have the head-to-head against Kansas City. So really, they're 2 games back. I still think that they'll ultimately catch a team, but it's hard to say. They may, there's a chance. I mean, it's unlikely, but like, if they go 10-6, like they're not guaranteed to get in right now. They have some bad losses. I mean, right now the 3 wild card teams, they've lost to all 3 between the Jaguars, Chargers, and Bills. Lost to all 3.
That's tough because the head-to-head matters at the end. So
Head-to-head matters. So
that's
they're
not
really
good.
actually farther out than you would think. And they got the Colts and they got the Cowboys, which, the Cowboys in Dallas on Thanksgiving, that is not a give me at all. They have Houston as well, who's played better as of recent, granted kind of a cupcake-ish schedule. And then, the Chargers again, Broncos again, Titans and Raiders should handle business. But you got to think,
Not an easy schedule. It's not an easy
between
schedule.
between the Broncos, Chargers, Texans, Cowboys, Colts, I would say 3-2 at worst. But, that puts you at 10-7 if your worst case scenario happens. So is 10-7 good enough to get you into the playoffs this year? I don't know. They're going to need
usually is. It usually is 10-7.
It usually is, but I mean, right now Jacksonville's 6-4. I mean, looking at their schedule, it's pretty easy. They got the Titans twice, they got the Jets on there, they got the Cardinals on there. So those ideally they should go 4-0. They'll probably go 3-1 in one of those, but then they got the Colts twice and the Broncos, so you think they'll go at least 1-2 in those. So it's going to be tough. I mean, Jacksonville seems like they're locked to go 10-7. So I don't know if Kansas City may need 11 to get in this year.
Damn, that would be crazy if they missed the playoffs.
I'm just looking at it right now because I mean, I guess it depends how the Chargers do. I don't see a world where Buffalo doesn't get to 11. So, and then they're not going to catch the Broncos at this point.
I doubt they're not going to catch Denver. No way.
Shit, man. I might be like, I might be talking myself into Kansas City not making the playoffs this year.
It's still plus money. It's still plus money.
Yeah,
I saw minus 170 for them to make is what I saw.
To make, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, shit, man. I'm actually like, yeah, plus 150 to not make it. That's
betting against Patrick Mahomes usually doesn't work out, though, my friend.
Well, it's not even betting against Patrick Mahomes. It's just believing in the other teams that they're going to continue to get it done, and it's just going to be too little, too late. Because, like I said, they could easily go 5-2 over the next 7, and it may not matter.
Yeah, and I will say, like, we were high on Denver and LA and Buffalo and Jacksonville before the season, so it's not like we've thought these teams are shit. The only one that really surprised me is Indy, and I guess New England too, but that's what's kind of pigeonholing them out right now.
Oh, I'm loving the Broncos, man. That's looking great for my Super Bowl pick. First round bye would be nice. Really,
it is.
Really go a long way.
Yeah.
But let's go to his third question. What do the Jaguars need to do to sustain their success? Oh, that's funny.
Apparently, keep handing the ball off to Travis Etienne and Bashaw Tootin, right? Get the ball out of T-Law's hands. Like, I don't know. They beat the brakes off of LA without Brian Thomas and Travis Hunter. So get that offensive line working. And you know what? That defense has made significant strides this year as well. You got to tip the cap to that side of the ball because that's really what's changed the game for them this season.
Listen, they could still catch the Colts, too, in that division. The Colts are up 2, but they have 2 games against each other still. Colts are going to play Kansas City this week while the Jaguars draw the Cardinals. Ideally it could be a one game separating these two with 2 left on the schedule. And then, the Colts are definitely not a lock for this division. I know they've been on fire, but Jacksonville still is very much in the conversation. And even Houston's still lurking at 5-5. But they got a really tough schedule still, at least over the next few.
And Stroud's still a little beat up.
Yeah. Although I don't know if that matters. I mean, Davis Mills has been pretty good as of recent.
Davis Mills.
Davis Mills, man. But yeah, let's move on. So let's go to Walmart. He wants to know, what team has been the most surprisingly good team in your opinion?
I'm going to go with Indy over the Patriots. And the reason being is the schedule differentials. Like, I knew looking at that schedule that it was the easiest in the league before the season. And it wasn't just the easiest, it was the easiest by a wide margin. So you kind of thought that they were going to be at least around a 500 team. Indy, just the way that they're dominating, and it's with Daniel Jones, who is a cast off. Like, everyone wrote him off like, this guy's done because his last days in New York were terrible. I'm going to go with Indy because, like, I don't know, man. Like, Shane Steichen was I don't want to say in the hot seat, but there were definitely conversations.
No, he was definitely in the hot seat.
Definitely conversations in this offseason whether or not he's the guy. And, he's such a great offensive mind. He showed that in Philadelphia. He showed that in Indy and what he could try to do with Anthony Richardson. It's just crazy. They get in Daniel Jones, a cast off, instead of Richardson. They pick 4th overall, and now they look like a juggernaut.
Yeah. I'll say one. It's not surprising to me, but I would say it's surprising the most. That's Carolina Panthers being at 6-5, and actually only half a game out of the division right now. So I'd say a lot of people did not expect them to be great yet, and I would say they're ahead of schedule, especially their defense. I mean, their defense has stepped up. They've beaten some teams they definitely should have. Of course, they've, lost to the Saints, which they really should have won that game, but that was, I guess, a classic look-ahead game, and it's funny because the one they lost was the one they were favored in, which is still wild to think that a team 6-5 being favored in only one of 11 games this year. So, and looking at the remainder of their schedule, there's not going to be, many games left outside of maybe, the Bucs game at home and then the Saints game on the road that they'd be favored in.
That's a good point.
So, but I've just been, really, really surprised by this team. I mean, Bryce, you could say, I don't even think it's a debate, just had the best game of his career.
He set the franchise record in passing yards in a game.
I don't even think it's a debate. I mean, the 448 passing yards and the 3 touchdowns. And the crazy part about that is, like, that's only his second game this year over 300. But prior to that, like, 9 of his other 11 games, he had under 200 passing yards. So it's just ridiculous, like, how good of a game he had. And, like, he's really starting to come into – figure. And I know a lot of Panthers fans are probably a little worried how he looked the past couple games prior, but man, or I'm sorry, not 9 of 11, 8 of 10. I forgot he missed the one game.
Yeah, I tell you what, man, it's crazy what a stud receiver can do for a quarterback. T-Mac is the truth.
Yeah, he's good. So now he wants to know, is Bo Nix going to lead the Broncos to a Super Bowl before his time is done in Denver? Yeah, that'll be this year, so he won't have to wait very long. I've been saying that from the start of the year, and I'm going to stick with my team. I wouldn't say when they do win the Super Bowl that it's going to be I don't know if that's the verbiage I'm going to use. I don't think I'm going to say, hey, Bo Nix, let him. It's going to be more on the back of that defense. I do feel I am a little nervous without J.K. Dobbins because you saw, R.J. Harvey's usage was weird, but he definitely doesn't look as good of a runner as Dobbins. But we'll see. I mean, the Chiefs do have a good front, so but hopefully before the playoff run starts, Dobbins is back and healthy because I really like the 1-2 punch they got going there.
I'm seeing he's done for the year, but he already had surgery in Lynn's frac, so that's just awful for a guy that's dealt with so many injuries. I mean, he was a stud going back to his Ohio State days. Obviously, Harvey's just not as good in between the tackles. They like to get him the ball in space, so they're kind of missing that power runner between the tackles right now. We'll see. Maybe Harvey can develop more into that role, but he's a 24-year-old rookie that has made his hay on the outside, getting in space. So, it's definitely gonna be tough for him. We'll see. I don't think Bo Nix is the reason they would win the Super Bowl this year. Like, obviously, he's gonna have to make plays in the playoff for that to happen, and he would be a huge part of it. But just last week, 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, people are talking about how inaccurate he is throwing the ball downfield, not even downfield, but like beyond the line of scrimmage, he's inaccurate. And that's been a problem for the offense. But when that defense is this damn good, even without Pat Surtain, yeah, you're going to be in a lot of games. And Bo Nix has shown that he has the maturity and the experience and the onions to get the win at the end of the game.
Yeah, no, he's definitely been a beast in the fourth quarter. That is for sure. That is definitely for sure. But yeah, let's move on. Thanks for submitting. We got Zach, another Mr. Octagon, with a question. How big of frauds are the Chargers? Seems like they cannot play on the road.
Yeah, I mean it's a valid question, right? Like we saw the Chargers lose games to bad teams. Not that the Jags are a bad team, but like earlier in the season, I know they lost the Giants on the road, and they've had their struggles with some bad teams. I mean, I just think it's a fact that the injuries are catching up to them. Like they were
Yeah.
supposed to be built on that offensive line and Justin Herbert and working off of that. And when you don't have two All-Pro caliber tackles, you can start to see the cracks in the armor. I think that's what we're seeing. Like the fact that they got just not shut out, like in terms of the scoreboard, but essentially shut out by the Jags is alarming because that's a team that's in the playoff picture right now with them. So if I got to think the Chargers going to go on the road to a cold weather city in the first round, yeah, I'm alarmed. And that's definitely what we've seen throughout Herbert's career is the inability to get it done in the postseason. And it sucks because I think he's such a great player. But if the defense is not going to play up to its standard like it has been most of the season, and that's the performance you're going to see, I just don't think the Chargers, with all their injuries in the offensive side of the ball, can keep up in a shootout.
Yeah, that's fair. Obviously missing Slater and Alt has just been massive. You also got to throw in the fact that like they're always not going to be great on the road or better than they should be because they don't get the fans that travel and they don't get that aspect that you see other teams get where like they can go against a bad team on the road and like there's a chance there's more fans in the stadium. Like I'm sure when you guys went to the Giants Chargers and maybe when that was because it was so early, it was still a lot of Giants fans.
Oh, it was all
Or like,
Giants, but I can tell
you
you,
know,
the Packers game this past Sunday, it was a ton of Packers and the
exactly.
Niners. The Niners fucking travel like crazy too.
Exactly. But
You're
that's
not
my
going to get
point.
that
Like
with the
like
Chargers.
even if the Chargers are playing a team that's like eliminated from the playoffs, like they're not getting that bump that other teams are getting. So I'm not going to sit here and say that's a big reason, but I definitely think that factors into the reason they struggle so much on the road. But the injuries are piling up, man. It'll be interesting. I think they're probably a first round exit, assuming they are able to hold on and make the playoffs.
That's my hunch right now too, which sucks because I was so high on them before the season.
Yeah. All right, let's move on to our final guy who submitted questions, Mr. Jared Crampton. He wants to know what is going on with the Bears wide receivers in fantasy. Well, it's another case like the Eagles, man. I mean, the team's winning games, so it's like if it ain't broke, don't fix it, And I think they want to be a run first team. They have a fucking awesome 1-2 punch there, similar, obviously not close to the same level of greatness that Gibbs and Montgomery are, but they got their nice, 1-2 punch with Swift and Monunga. I mean, you saw against the Vikings, they ran the ball 39 times to Caleb Williams, 32 passing attempts. I think what also hurts is unfortunately they got a lot of guys on the offensive front that they can throw the ball to. I mean, between Burden, Adunze, DJ Moore, the two tight ends in Loveland and Komet, like Caleb Williams really can spread the ball around. So I know guys like Rome who have showed early season success, like, when there's only like 25 pass catches to be had or 25 targets to be had, it's going to be tough. And I think, their schedule does get a little bit harder coming up. So maybe that'll bode well for the Bears options. I could see between the Eagles, the Packers twice, the Lions, the 49ers again, like it's going to be a tough back half stretch for them, which may bode well for fantasy matchups when, hey, we can't run the ball. Like we need to pass the ball. So maybe that'll be good because they'll get into some more shootouts.
Yeah, I agree with you. It's just they're not throwing the ball a ton, a lot of mouths to feed. Like it's just inconsistency, right? Like you want to start Rome like every week because he's Rome and he can go off like he did last week, and then you get weeks like this where he gives you a dud. I think it's safe to put DJ Moore on your bench. Week 9 against Cincinnati, which is Cincinnati's defense. Let's not kid ourselves. He was wide receiver 4. He has not finished as a top 24 wide receiver in any other week this season. So DJ Moore at 28 years old feels like this is probably his last year in Chicago. Clearly, they don't need him to win games. And, I just think if you're in Dynasty, like Luther Burden is a good stash for that for 2026 and beyond because he has shown flashes. He's just not getting on the field a ton right now. But, you start to see over the last few weeks, he's getting a little bit more involved. But clearly, they want to run with their tight ends. They want to go under center. They want to run the football and work play action off of that. And you know what? With the way Caleb's been playing, you can't fault Ben Johnson for wanting to run that type of offense. It's not going to be like a Bengals offense where their wide receivers can feast all day. It's a different system. Like if you had Jameson Williams in fantasy, you know that too, where some weeks it's just absolute duds, and then some weeks he pops off because that's the way they ran their offense in Detroit under Ben Johnson. So I think it's a similar thing right now.
Yeah, and I will say, speaking of Caleb, he does look a lot more comfortable in the pocket. Like he's maneuvering around way better than he was last year. Like he's getting out of these sacks and stuff that I've seen at least. But let's move on. He wants to know who is a sneaky MVP pick. Funny enough, we were just talking about him 5 seconds ago. I actually think Caleb Williams is a sneaky MVP pick. He's 80-1 right now. The reason why I think he's sneaky is their schedule is so hard down the stretch that if they're able to go out there and win, even if they go 5-2 or 4-3, if they somehow win the NFC North and he balls out with how wide open this competition really still is to me, if he can put up some big numbers, I definitely think it's possible. Because right now, I mean, I'm not going to sit here and say he's got crazy numbers, but he does have 16 touchdowns to 4 interceptions total. He's been using his legs a lot with the 272. So if he can get his passing yards up around the 4,000 mark, he's at 2,300 right now, and have his rushing yards, around 500-600 yards with like close to 30-40 touchdowns, and they win the NFC North. Why not? I mean, and just to lay out their schedule so you know how difficult it really is: Steelers, Eagles, Packers, Browns, Packers, Niners, Lions. So 6 of those 7 teams are projected playoff teams, and the one that's not has still, a top 10 defense for sure.
That's a good pick. So
I
have none. I genuinely have none. Like I'm looking at them all right now, and I'm like, it just seems like the good teams have kind of separated themselves with like their MVP candidates right now, and a lot of the star quarterbacks have been hurt or just not the same caliber that we've seen, or their teams are just a little bit behind and they're not going to win a division. So it's tough. It's probably going to be a division winner. And you look around, you're like, yeah, Stafford makes sense. Like May makes sense. Like JT, you're not going to go Daniel Jones over JT. Like Bo Nix hasn't done enough for you. Like that's the defense carrying you. Lions don't seem like they have it.
I know. I was actually going to say, I thought Jared Goff would be a sneaky one. He's 55-1 right now. His stats are already pretty good. They're 6-4. Another one with a tough schedule. They got the Giants, but then it gets really tough. The Packers, Cowboys, but then the Rams, Steelers, Vikings, Bears. They definitely got a tough schedule. They're 6-4, but if they can run the table, win the division, end with 13, 12 wins, even 11 wins. I mean, Jared Goff's right now 2,500 passing yards, 21-4 touchdown to interception ratio. So, if he ends with like 35 touchdowns and, high mid 4,000s in passing yards, I mean, it's possible. That's another one I think, really Williams and Goff, like the winner of that division, could have a chance to push for the MVP race.
Yeah, I guess that makes sense. Baker's kind of fallen off a little bit too. It's another one that I thought of, but with the
I don't even know if it's necessarily
games,
him falling off or just the team just being so injured.
Yeah.
Because it's funny, like Baker, with the team losing, his stats have gotten worse, which, it seems like a lot of times, like when your teams are trailing, you can put up good garbage time numbers. But even in that Bills game, that was kind of a shootout. Like Baker's numbers weren't really anything special.
That is true.
So also Sean Tucker was cooking. So that definitely factors in.
Sean Tucker's pleased with his performance.
Yeah. I mean, I would think, if for those with Bucky, you'd think Tucker will be involved when he comes back, and White will probably be the odd man out, but we'll see how that shakes out. But he wants to know his final question: are the Chargers cooked? No alt appears to equate to hell for Herbo. So we kind of talked about it already. I still think they're going to make the playoffs, but I think they're going to be a first-round exit. It's just pretty obvious that their line is just terrible at this point, and they're going to go against some tough defensive fronts that probably will sack the shit out of them. Like if you match up with Denver in the playoffs in the first round, or you match up with, Pittsburgh in the first round, like how the hell are you going to block some of the, like, how are you going to block Nick Bonito, TJ Watt, like some of those guys? You're not. So it's going to be rough sledding for the Chargers. And I think,
and you even saw last week, like the shift in the game plan, which makes sense with the beaten up offensive line, but Herbert's time to throw is sped up. Like they're really speeding up his clock. And, when you get to a playoff matchup, like you think the defensive coordinators don't know that you can kind of sit on those underneath routes more and it just makes life more difficult for your entire offense. That's why they need Hampton to get back ASAP and get that running game cooking like he was before he got hurt.
Yeah. Vidal has been so hot and cold, but pretty obvious he's no Marion Hampton.
Yeah.
But that's all we had for questions.
All right, man. Sweet. We got 15 games to go to, and we're 35 minutes in. So, I mean, I love talking about the questions. We touched on a lot of the shit that we're going to talk about anyways. But before we do that, we got to talk about the picks this week. And boy, oh boy, did I get fucking cooked this week, man. Did I get cooked? Reagan went 10-4 on the money line and the spread. I went 4-10 on the spread. 9-5 on the money line. So Reagan's really widened his gap on the spread against me. He's up 10 games now with that six game swing. 92-70 against the spread, Reagan. That's really fucking good. That's really fucking good.
Been reading it well, my man. Been reading it well.
Reading it well. I'm 82-80. You're 1-2, 59-1 money line. I'm 99-62-1. So 3 back there. So hey, it's a great week for you, man. You did a great job against the spread. 92-70 is a legitimate like capper type of fucking number. So keep it up, man. Keep it up.
We'll try. Shit. We shall try.
I'm hoping we flip the script next week though, and I can kind of close that gap a little bit because I do have the crown the previous 2 years with the best records. But you know,
hey, I mean, you still got another 6 weeks in the regular season plus the playoffs, so you got a lot of time.
Yep. And then felt 5. I went down 7 units. I had a push with Jacobs. I still have my 5-unit CD Lamb pending of 100 yards. He's got like 60 or something right now.
Yeah, I think
half. So we'll see. I mean, they're just beating the shit out of the Raiders. So I don't know like if they're just going to run the ball in the second half. So maybe that'd be nice for me. Reagan went up 0.2 units. You cashed on Greg Dortch, who went nuts this week. So there you go. Garrett down 3.95 units, but he's got Dallas pending as his 4-unit, which minus 3.5 looks really good. So it could be a push week for Big G. And then Zach went up for him. Zach went up 18.9 units, cashing his 5-unit, his 4-unit, his 3-unit, his 2-unit, and his 1-unit. Bijan went off for him, so he was able to cash a lot of that. That was 3 of his 5 picks, Bijan Robinson, who went off. So Big Z
that definitely helps. That definitely helps. Risky strategy, but that definitely paid off for him. You know, maybe that's a way to roll with it. Just take I'm surprised I haven't seen a Jetta's ladder for him with like 90, 80, or 100, 90, 80, 70, 60.
Probably because he hates JJ McCarthy. McCarthy's a Michigan man. He hates McCarthy's. He doesn't trust them right now. Yeah. He does take Jettas all the time, but Jettas hasn't scored. He hasn't scored. All right, man. Let's talk about these games a little bit. Thursday night football. Pats.
Oh, by the way, he forgot to mention I did beat him in our Dynasty league, so I am now 11-0 in that league, and I think that's now like I don't know the last time you beat me in that league, but it's all right. But
yeah,
anyway.
he did beat me, so it's frustrating. It's frustrating, you know. Still a 2 seed, but it's one we want back for sure. The boys didn't show up to play. You know, what are you gonna do about it? What are you gonna do? I coached them as hard as I could. My guys just didn't respond this week. You know, the Jared Goff, Jamar Chase, 6 points and spitting on somebody. What the fuck? Judkins, nothing. My defense got me -2. Thanks, Chargers. So tough week for the boys, but it's fine. We'll get you back later in the season. We'll see. We'll see you again down the road, my friend. All right, Thursday night football. Your Jets lose yet again to drop to 2-8. Pats 9-2 with a 27-14 win. Drake May, pretty damn good here. 281 yards passing, a touchdown. Henderson was the real show here, scoring 3 touchdowns, 1 receiving, 2 on the ground. And Stephon Diggs went for over 100 as New England rolled in this one. For the Jets, Justin Fields, who, by the way, was benched. It's been Aaron Glenn.
Yeah.
Saying that they're going to go. Well, it wasn't. It was Diana Rossini. So I'm sure Aaron Glenn's presser. I didn't get to see it, but I know he just always says to ask the beat reporters who leaked this shit early. But it's going to be the Tyrod Taylor show after Fields threw for only 116 yards, 1 touchdown. He did score on the ground, so pretty solid for him. But really, they couldn't get anything going through the air. And it's hard to win football games in the NFL today's day and age when that's the case.
Yeah, I mean, Patriots, big win, you know, just one, you know, that it's like, all right, you know, the hiccups are always there. There's always the chance, like the look-ahead games and stuff, but they just keep taking care of business. So, you know, they're beating the teams they should beat. They're beating the teams they shouldn't beat. They're just beating everybody. And the Jets, I mean, not a whole lot to write home about. You know,
yeah. What are you going to talk about the Jets?
I mean, I talked about Mitchell before. I'm excited about that. At least he's just got to learn how to catch the ball. And hopefully with Tyrod, he'll have a chance because Fields certainly won't give him the proper opportunity. I'm on to the mock drafts.
I know. So A.D. Mitchell, like, I saw like the comparison. Like, people were like, when have you ever seen a guy who's so good at running routes? Which is true. Like, even last year, he was like, I think he was like top 12 in like separation score, which is impressive. The guy gets open, but he's got hands problems. And someone made the comparison that, like, oh, this Devontae Adams, people forget his first 2 years. He was cooking guys, but he had drop issues. And now he just had his 1,000th career reception. So, like, it still can change. A.D. Mitchell is still a really young player, and this is some good reps for him because he's kind of been buried in Indianapolis a little bit. So that is a positive to take away from it. Like, Fields definitely missed him a couple times. Catches that he could have made, but they were difficult.
Yeah.
But at least if you're a Jets fan, without Garrett Wilson for the foreseeable future, you're seeing a little bit of young buck blood getting some reps. So it's a positive. And you mentioned he did do well against Christian Gonzalez. And yeah, I mean, he only had 1 catch for 10 yards on 6 targets, but he was getting open. So that is a positive.
That is a positive.
All right, let's head over across the pond, Reagan, shall we, to Madrid, where the Dolphins got a win in overtime, 16-13 over the Commanders. Really not the game script I anticipated. I thought Tua was going to have a big day here, but he was efficient. He threw for $170, 14 of 20, but it was Achane on the ground, 21 for 120. Then Ollie Gordon sneaking the touchdown to punch it in for the only touchdown for the Dolphins in this game, of course, which sucked because big dogs never really got off the ground with Jalen Waddle. Frustrating. For the Commanders, Mariota, 213, a touchdown, a pick, kind of a standard stat line that you expect. I think the big story to take away here is Chris Rodriguez, 15 for 79, compared to Bills, 9 for 28, and McNichols, 4 for 13. There's been a shift in that backfield. Rodriguez obviously was an honorary captain last week, like just showing him respect for the work he's putting in. And it seems like he's taken over that backfield. All this Bill hype has really died down. And Deebo Samuel had a great game again, 7 for 74 and a touchdown. But when it's just him and Zach Ertz, not a lot of weapons for Mariota to play with here. This Commanders offense is really stuck in mud.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. This game just was a battle of two teams that really didn't want to win, and somebody had to win.
Yeah.
I don't know. The Bill thing is very unfortunate, because I think a lot of people, myself included, were banging the drums on him. And now it looks like, yeah, he's never going to amount to anything because it's hard to think. If I would have him in a dynasty, like, you might as well sell him. I just don't see a world where he actually turns it around. They're either going to sign someone or draft someone next year. So I think he unfortunately just didn't seize his opportunity. And with the capital invested in him, they don't really owe him anything. So I would imagine that hype train or fire can be extinguished.
Yeah, I'm really happy I sold him when I did, like a couple weeks ago, probably like a month ago.
For a 7th rounder and did not return.
Yeah,
so
I sold him for Brian Thomas, obviously more on top of Bill, but it was a good piece to get rid of him there. So I'm feeling good about that return. Huh?
What dumbass did you fuck up?
That was Luke. I gave him Bill, Jameson Williams, and a 27 first for Brian Thomas. So obviously Thomas hasn't been right after I traded for him. He had his best week though of the season. Then he got hurt, but I'm still feeling good about that package for Brian Thomas. So
I would too.
Bill just seems chalked, man. And I agree. They're 100% gonna bring a vet in or draft somebody because it's obvious they need a true workhorse in that backfield to help support Jayden Daniels when he gets back.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, let's talk about my Giants and get this one over with, shall we? I love when we get rid of the Jets and Giants early in the pod because we're always so upset about it. But, it was just another classic, like fourth quarter, find a way to lose for the Giants here. For the Packers, Jordan Love left briefly with injury, came back, threw for 174, 2 touchdowns. That was fine. I mean, honestly, like this Packers offense didn't do like too much. Like it doesn't change my perspective on how this offense has performed. Obviously, losing Josh Jacobs to a knee injury, which, thank God, is nothing serious. Might miss a week, but it's nothing crazy, so that's really good. But he only had 7 carries for 40 yards. Emmanuel Wilson scored. Christian Watson scored twice. They couldn't cover him. The Giants' secondary is garbage. I mean, honestly, this was a game that kind of played to a script that the Giants would want to win. I thought Jameis played pretty well, too. 19 to 29 for 200 yards. Obviously, the pick to lose the game, but that was more on Jalen Hyatt, all this shit coming out after the game where it's a corner route and he stopped his route. So it's funny. I was saying in the stands, I was like, well, Jameis hasn't thrown a pick yet. You kind of think he's due. And then that's how it happens. And then everyone's like, dude. And I'm like, yeah, you're right. It's my fault up here in section 309 that Jameis threw that and Jalen Hyatt stopped his route short. But yeah, Devin Singletary punched it in twice, even though Tracy was the more efficient runner in this one, 19 for 88. But Singletary got both touchdowns. And then Jameis Winston with a QB sneak got it in. And how about this?
10-yard QB sneak run. That was awesome.
That was awesome. And how about this? Isaiah Hodgins signed off the Steelers practice squad on Wednesday. Obviously was on the Giants in 2022 when they won a playoff game and was a big part of that offense. And he's a leading receiver just like that with no Darius Slayton in the picture. Hodgins, 557, your leading receiver. This receiver core without Malik Neighbors is just disgustingly bad. This Giants team just can't find a way to win. And to add the cherry on top, Abdul Carter was benched for the first series because he missed a walkthrough. So not ideal from the third overall pick.
Yeah, no, not ideal at all. I mean, I was impressed with the Giants in this one. Another one for the Packers I'm not overly impressed with. Granted, you lost Josh Jacobs and Jordan Love got banged up, but your defense kind of let the Giants move the ball on you a lot with a lot of backups playing and really not a whole lot of talent. So, I mean, Packers, man, like, even though you won, like, yeah, a win's a win, but, like, I would be so panicked right now. They have not looked good, and they just continue to let bad teams hang around with them and let it go to the wire. I mean, yeah, you got the big interception, but you definitely didn't win this one convincingly. You'd like to see them start to rattle off some games where, hey, we're playing a bad team, but we took care of business.
I agree, man. Like, I don't have a lot of confidence in the Packers going into the playoffs, the way they've looked and how they kind of play down their competition. I do want to point out one positive for the Giants is the fact that that Packers front seven is absolutely legit. Their pass rush is absolutely legit. And they were kind of held at bay, man. This Giants offensive line was good. Andrew Thomas just kind of bullied Micah Parsons like he always has when Parsons was on the Cowboys. So, that's a positive, and I guess that's the only real good takeaway from this if you're a Giants fan. But yeah, for the Packers, like, you took care of business, but you got to start blowing out these teams that, like, let's be honest, the Giants are very primed for potential number one overall pick with the way their schedule looks down the stretch. And I don't know if they're going to win another game. So, like, that's a team that the Packers should win by 2-3 touchdowns.
Yeah, no, definitely. But they just can't, and they don't.
I know. All right, we get to talk about your Panthers now, Reagan, an overtime W over the Falcons.
Yeah.
I know Canals is like, we were about to run out of plays on our play sheet. That's, how deep in the bag they got to get a 30-27 win, 6-5 on the season. Atlanta drops to 3-7. We've already talked about Atlanta a lot earlier on with Penix getting hurt and Cousins coming in, and he looked terrible. Bijan scored twice. At least that's a positive. Drake London was awesome, but he also left with injury.
Bryce Young
tough in Atlanta, but we should focus mostly on Carolina here because Bryce Young, after a couple games where it just looked like shit, goes 31 of 45 for 448 yards and 3 touchdowns. Rico, tell you what, he got bottled up here, 19 for 45, and that's kind of been the catalyst for them to win games. But now it's in the hands of Bryce Young. And when you got T-Mac 8 for 130 and 2 touchdowns.
He got bottled up on the ground, but he still had 100 all-purpose yards.
Yeah, on the ground. He still had 55 receiving on 5 receptions, so still got him through the air a little bit. Xavier Legette, 4 for 83 and a touchdown. You love to see that. I mean, you like to see a little bit more consistency for the former first-round pick. But
I know, yeah, he goes 9 for 92, then disappears for 3 weeks where he has 3 total catches in 3 games, and then all of a sudden he's back again.
It just doesn't make sense, because he's got the physical attributes, but the consistency is just not there, and it sucks because if, like, you could see this more from Legette, you have 2 first-round picks out wide, and you're feeling pretty good about your core for Bryce Young going to the future. But I still think they need another weapon for him, opposite of T-Mac, because T-Mac's just been phenomenal. I mean, even Tommy Tremble with a 54-yarder here, Jalen Coker, 4 for 52, the undrafted guy that showed some flashes last year. But, I mean, crazy. They got the win. Bryce Young, just when you want to count him out, he puts up a performance like this, and it's like, all right, that's why you drafted him number 1 overall.
Yeah, I mean, by far the best game of his career, best game as a passer. He lit up Atlanta. So if he can play like this, I mean, or just, more consistent like this, I think some of these teams are going to be in trouble because the defense is playing great. Like that Monday Night Football game against San Francisco could be a coming out party for the Panthers on national television if they're able to win in Santa Clara. which I wouldn't count him out. I would
Massive
not
game
count him
for them.
out at all. I mean, we've seen them get some big road wins this season, so no reason to not think they can't do it again.
It's a great point, man. All right, moving on here. Buffalo gets the win at home over the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They improved to 7-3. Tampa drops another down to 6-4. Josh Allen, man, holy shit, 6 total touchdowns. Of course, I went against him in 2 fantasy leagues this week, so I basically lost those automatically because Josh Allen throws for 317 yards, 3 touchdowns, 2 picks. All right. But he had 3 rushing touchdowns on the ground, 6 total. He found James Cook through the air, who didn't have the best day in the ground, but 3 for 66 through the air. That's what I love to see. James Cook is more than capable as a receiver, but they don't really throw the ball to him a lot. You know what I mean? Like, he does not get a lot of receptions. So when I see a 3 for 66 and a touchdown, I'm really happy because, I mean, Tyrell Shavers was their leading receiver, 4 for 90 and a touchdown. Like,
and
that's
Cam
the way
Coleman
the Bills
was a
play.
healthy scratch.
Healthy scratch because he missed a walkthrough or a meeting. I think it's the 3rd time it was reported that he's been late to a meeting in his Bills career. And even Deion Dawkins, the star left tackle, one of the captains of the team, is like, there's no more coddling. Like, it's time to grow up. And he knows that. So
I don't like that move by him.
You don't like that, calling him out in the media?
No, I think that's dumb. I think that's childish as well.
I think the fact he did it just shows like how fed up with the shit himself and other leaders of the team probably are. It's probably a lot of stuff behind the scenes we don't know, but I do get that sentiment. It's like when a couple weeks back when you have like, who was it that said he stopped his route short when they lost? Was it Caleb? No, it wasn't Caleb that said it.
No,
it was.
I mean, we saw the Bengals players going nuts about the defense.
Oh, yeah, the Bengals players going nuts about the defense. Who's the quarterback that was like, oh, yeah, he stopped his route short, and everyone's like, ooh, like, that's not kind of what you're supposed to do as a leader in the media. I know Tua did it, like, after a couple weeks back. He threw his guys under the bus. Like, you just don't want to do this shit in the media. Like, you're dirty laundry. Like, keep that shit in-house. That's strong culture. So I do get your point in that regard. But still, like, they got to win. Big win over a good Tampa Bay team. Baker, 173, a touchdown, a pick. Like, not great. Yeah. You know, Rock White was all right at 1051, but it was Sean Tucker, 19 for 106 and 2 touchdowns. I think we said it last week, Reagan, where it's like, yeah, I think we're going to start to see a shift in that backfield, and Tucker is going to be getting more of the lion's share because he's been outperforming Rock White. He's just not efficient at all. And then receiving-wise, it was pretty gross for Tampa Bay. On top of the 106 rushing, Tucker did have 34 and another touchdown. So 3 touchdowns for Sean Tucker. Abuka, 5 for 40. Shepard, 4 for 54. Not ideal from this receiving core. And Tez Johnson, only 1 for 6 after he kind of had a good stretch of games.
Yeah, no, not ideal at all. Not a whole lot to really write home about here on the Bucs side. Like, they're banged up, but really just looked outmatched in this one, like trailing the whole second half. I mean, Allen, obviously MVP type performance. Maybe Shavers is a guy to look at to pick up there. Because there's not a whole lot of wide receivers here. I mean, I know Kincaid and Coleman were out, and Shakir with a weirdly uninvolved game. So, for Josh Allen to go over 300 yards and, his top wide receiver by far to be Shavers, maybe he's a guy you should take a peek at in fantasy leagues.
I don't know. I just think it's tough because they just spread the ball so much. You know what I mean? Like, it could be anyone's week.
I know. That's the tough thing. And they
can
obviously
no Kincaid
run the ball
either.
well.
No Kincaid.
Well, I mean, I don't think that really affected him, but I get what you're saying. I don't know. Weird receiver room there, but Josh is still going to get his regardless of who he's got.
He will. Moving on here, I was so close to calling this upset. Texans take care of the Titans 16-13, led by Davis Mills. Tennessee did cover the spread, but I thought they can get the outright win here. Tough one for your survivor pools. I don't really think anyone got drilled with survivor this week. I think if all
the pool I was in, everyone made it through unless the Cowboys lose.
Pool I was in, again, like I think one person has Dallas, but everyone survived. So it was a pretty chalky week. And this was one of the chalky picks. Davis Mills, all right, 274, a touchdown, got sacked 4 times. Didn't turn the ball over through the air, which was nice. The run game, Woody Marks, 18 for 44. I mean, is Woody Marks like good, or is it just a volume play? honestly,
I
I
think
don't
it's always
know.
going to be a volume play. This offense is trash and can't
Yeah,
run the
this
ball.
offense is trash. The offensive line's garbage. We all knew it. It's crazy their front office didn't know it and address it, but it is what it is. Nico Collins, 9 for 92 and a touchdown. Another great week with Davis Mills. I almost pulled the trigger on a trade for him, but I'm hesitant with the way he's looked with CJ Stroud and what his
Oh, on
asking price
Nico. I
is
thought you
right
meant
now.
for Davis Mills. I was like, wait, what? Oh,
No,
yeah,
on
for
Nico.
Nico,
On Nico. Another
I would
great
be
game with
hesitant.
Davis Mills.
I would sell high on Nico if I have him in a redraft league. I would. I don't think this is going to continue once CJ Stroud takes over. Davis Mills has been ultra targeted him, so sell high.
I think it's a good idea because you mentioned their schedule is pretty brutal down the
Yeah.
stretch. For Tennessee, Cam Ward, 194, a touchdown. If he's got to throw the ball 37 times, I don't love the Titans' chances given their receiver core. Calvin Ridley didn't mention the news because he's been pretty non-existent this year, but out for the season. I know Jameer DK left early as well. So you're running out Van Jefferson, Alec Ayubanor. It's just tough, dude. It's just tough. Not a lot of weapons for Ward to play with. And when your running game is non-existent, 10 for 22 from Pollard, 4 for 3 from Tyjae Spears, you're not going to win a game. You're just not with the way the roster is constructed.
I don't see at this point how they win another game. I mean, maybe Cleveland, but I mean, I guess they got Cleveland and the Saints and the Jaguars twice. I could totally see them taking one from the Jaguars, but I find it. I mean, at best, I don't see them winning more than 3 games this year.
I know it's really interesting the way the draft order shakes out right now is Tennessee 1, the Giants 2, and they both don't need quarterbacks. So it can make a really interesting draft scenario where a couple quarterback needy teams with a class that's might only have Mendoza and Ty Simpson moving up. So it could be good for Tennessee in the long run.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. Definitely. You could definitely. There's a few teams that would totally trade up. Hopefully not my Jets. That would be unfortunate.
Jets, Raiders, Browns. One of those teams. Browns have 2 first-round picks, so they can move up and go get a quarterback. I know we'll get into it soon, the Shador stuff, but I'm looking forward to that conversation. All right. Before that, though, the Bears 19-17 win over the Vikings. They improved to 7-3. Minnesota drops to 4-6. Damn, should they have kept Sam Darnold? I don't know, man. JJ McCarthy 16-32, 150, a touchdown and 2 picks. Not good. McCarthy is obviously the kid has barely played, and he's the youngest starting quarterback in the NFL. The problem is this Vikings team is set up to win right now, and he can't provide what they need. The run game was solid enough with Aaron Jones and Jordan Mason. Mason scored 6 for 45, Jones 16 for 70, but you saw the visible frustration from Justin Jefferson on the sideline, slamming his helmet. 5 for 61 on 9 targets. Addison, 2 for 20. Of course he scored. That's what he does. But just not really getting involved with JJ McCarthy. And when you have Hawkinson as well and Jalen Naylor, who looked great last week, you have all the weapons here and the offensive line to be a high-powered offense. With McCarthy, they just can't seem to do it. And against the Bears defense that, to put it bluntly, is nothing special. For the Bears, same thing, same 16 of 32 for Caleb Williams here. It's crazy. They both went 16 of 32, both quarterbacks in this game. Threw for 193. It was the run game, though, that kind of took over here. Swift, 21 for 90. Monangai, 12 for 23. Not good. He did punch one in. Caleb was able to scramble. Nothing crazy going on in terms of the offensive box scores here for these teams. But at the end of the day, the Bears just made more plays to get the win.
Yeah, I mean, the Bears keep winning. I still think they could make some noise if they're able to hold on and make the playoffs. I already highlighted it earlier how tough of a schedule it is. I do think this running game has improved significantly. I was impressed with the defense. I mean, on the Vikings side of the ball, I mean, this season's gone at this point, so it's all about JJ McCarthy's development down the stretch. I mean, I guess I shouldn't say for certain, but I find it hard to believe that they're going to run the table. They still got a pretty tough schedule as well with the Packers twice, Lions on there, Seahawks as well. So it's going to be tough for them to really make some noise. But, I'm curious to see how this offense can come together throughout the stretch. It just sucks when you have this good of a defense. It seems like almost a wasted season.
I know, and they're last in their division. Like, there's no way they're going to be able to make a run and get into the playoffs, which is just so terrible. Because their defense, like, statistically ranks top 10 in a lot of key metrics, and they have all the weapons on offense to be a good team. It's just JJ McCarthy has got to take his lumps. Hopefully, he improves down the stretch here to give Vikings fans confidence going into 2026. But just such a fall from grace from last year, that regular season they had, and then getting their asses kicked in the final two games to bow out, and then you lose Darnold, and now this is kind of where you're at.
Yeah, it's just not. I don't know. I don't really know what happened to the Vikings. I thought they were going to be better this year.
Yeah, me too. All right, the Steelers beat the brakes out of the Bengals 34-12, 6-4. Big win with the way Baltimore's looking and the way they're streaking to stay alive here. Rodgers 9-15, 116, a touchdown before exiting, and then Mason Rudolph played well. You're right. Maybe we won't see Will Howard yet because Rudolph stepped in 12-16 for 127, a touchdown. I will say, though, it's the Bengals. So if Rudolph struggles next week and Rodgers is out, maybe something could change. But, it is what it is. The quarterbacks both played well against the Bengals defense that is just Swiss cheese on the back ends. The rushing game was also pretty solid, 10-62 from Jaylen Warren. Gainwell, not great on the ground, but 7 for 81 and 2 touchdowns through the air as the leading receiver. Pretty nuts. A guy people don't really think about. Darnell Washington, definitely going to win angry runs if he didn't already win it. That run was fucking nuts when he just stiff-arming dudes to the ground, running them over. I mean, he's a glorified, extra tackle, honestly. But that was pretty cool to see, him flexing his athleticism like that. I guess a positive is DK Metcalf went 5 for 49. That's an improvement from what we've seen. It's still so damning to me he's not more involved in this offense given the state of their wide receiver core. But I guess it's a step in the right direction.
Yeah, it's a step in the right direction, but I don't know.
It's frustrating, man. For the Bengals, Flacco, not great. 23 of 40, 199, a touchdown, a pick. Chase Brown, 18 for 99. That's pretty good. T. Higgins scored. Jamar Chase pretty much shut down. Noah Fant fumbled. It's like they could not get going. And now at 3-7, it's like, fuck. Burrow's rushing back for what, man? For what?
Yeah. Yeah.
Do they just shut him down? Do they just shut him down?
No, I don't. Not yet. I mean, there's still only 2 games back, and they have 2 games against Baltimore still.
That's crazy.
Oh, I'm sorry. They're 3 games. No, actually, they're 3.5 back. Never mind. I still think they're gonna. I think they'll roll them out. I don't know. It's tough because, with the 2 games against the Ravens still, and the schedule gets they finished the last 3 with the Dolphins, Cardinals, Browns. I still don't think they shut them down. I think they'll bring them back, and then, mysteriously in the last week or 2 of the season, if they're out, he might be like, oh, he tweaked something.
Yeah. Oh, back on IR. That it's not feeling right. That toe. You know what I mean?
Yeah. What do you need? There's nothing he has to prove at this point. Exactly what he is.
All right, let's move on here. We don't have to spend a lot of time on this game because we touched about it a lot earlier, but the Jags 35-6 over the Chargers, 6-4 now for Jacksonville, 7-4 for the Chargers. Trevor Lawrence was fine, threw for 153, a touchdown and a pick. It was really the running backs going to work here. 15, 74 and a touchdown for Tootin, although he did leave with injury. ETN 19 for 73 and 2 touchdowns. The only receiver that really did something for this team, Jacoby Myers, 5 for 64 through the air. I guess Tim Patrick scored a touchdown. So it was the running backs that really went to work here. And this defense that was just getting after Justin Herbert, only sacked twice, but they really couldn't do shit. We'd all 5 for 13. They were just down early and they had to sling that rock and it didn't work out.
Yeah.
It got to the point where Trey Lance even got in the game and he didn't look great either. So, they didn't find that spark off the bench. Herbert, 10 of 18 for 81 yards and a pick. By far his worst game of the year. The receiving core, again, another week where it's a mixed bag. You don't know who's going to be the guy, but Keenan Allen was this week, 4 for 53, which is still not a great week for you. Gadsden, 2 for 41. Fucking Ladd, 3 for 13. Just terrible. And then Quentin Johnston, another goose egg.
Yeah, I mean, Jaguars, very, very impressive win. Chargers, what the hell? I mean, they get blown out like that. Herbert looked, and I know he got banged up, but I mean, he looked fucking terrible in this game. I mean, he kissed his MVP chances goodbye in this game alone. I mean, he was still on the outside with a chance. Where if he didn't look this bad and they won that game, he would have been another, dark horse or good valued pick at that point. But he's cooked. I mean, the offense terrible. Lad McConkey nowhere to be found, like you said. And then Jaguars, like, yeah, I guess this is the recipe. If you can run the ball, you'll probably win. Like the way Trevor Lawrence looks, like do everything possible to keep the ball out of his hands.
I know, dude. I know. It's really
But
bad.
good to see Jacoby Myers out 5 for 64. So he could really slide into that number one role. Maybe he'll establish a good relationship with him.
Absolutely. All right. The battle of the NFC West here. The Rams squeak by the Seahawks 21-19. They're 8-2. Seattle now 7-3. Crazy. It was only a 2-point game considering that Sam Darnold had 4 interceptions, throwing for 279 yards. Kenneth Walker got in the end zone, outperformed Charbonnet in this one, 16 for 67 compared to 11 for 37. JSN, another game over 100 yards. AJ Barner, I mean, dark horse, freaking tight end of the year from where you would have drafted him, because 10 for 70 is a great game from AJ Barner here. Kenneth Walker, 3 for 44 too. So love to see Walker getting more involved in that offense. But when you throw 4 picks, it's hard to win a football game, man. Even though the defense for Seattle really buckled down here and showed why they're one of the elite teams. Stafford only threw for 130, 2 touchdowns, didn't get sacked, didn't turn the ball over, but just not what we've seen from Stafford. Kyron Williams punched one in, 12 for 91. And then receiving-wise, it was Puka Nacua for 75, and the next leading receiver, Higbee, at 23 yards. Devontae Adams did have 1 catch for a touchdown on 8 targets, which is nuts. You got to tip the cap to that defense for Seattle, I guess, in that secondary. But crazy box score for Devontae Adams. 1 catch, 1 yard, 1 touchdown, 8 targets, but 1,000 career receptions. The 17th player to ever do that in NFL history, number 17.
What is crazy, he has 10 touchdowns on 43 catches this year. He's leading the league in touchdowns right now. He's just, they love him. They love him in the goal line, but like, especially like with 5 yards and in, I mean, he's just Stafford's go-to guy on the goal line right now.
That quick slant or that back shoulder works every time with Devontae Adams.
Yeah, I mean, he's definitely looking in a good spot to lead the league in receiving touchdowns. I mean, his career high is 18, and he has definitely got a chance to go beat that. I mean, granted, that was in 14 games, so I mean, that's crazy, but so we'll see what he ends up with, but still very, very elite at this point in his career.
And it's a great sign. That Rams offense, they got so many weapons. The way that defense is playing with only 2 first-round picks on it. I do want to say Emmanuel Forbes, who got released by the Commanders, was matched up a shit ton with JSN, and he actually held his own and made some big plays. So another diamond in the rough potentially for LA, for a team that doesn't have high pedigree guys in that defense, but they're one of the best in the league.
Yeah, and I was impressed with, both defenses. Like Seattle, I mean, the big thing to take away was you almost won this game and Sam Darnold looked this bad. So if he could play he doesn't have to be like he had been like in that Commanders game, but if he's just okay, like they could pretty much beat any team.
That is true.
Like,
and I like the way Ernest Jones backed them after the game too.
Yeah.
In the media.
It's just a bad game. They still almost won. Like, that's the crazy thing. With that bad, they still almost won the freaking game.
Yep. Staying in the NFC West, the Niners beat up on Arizona 41-22. They're now 7-4. Arizona 3-7 in a lost season. We'll start with Arizona because Jacoby Brissett threw the ball 57 times here.
Yeah,
running
and set a record.
Non-existent besides the Bam Knight touchdown, but that's a record for most pass attempts in a game.
No, most completions in a game with most 47.
47. That's freaking insane for
crazy efficient.
52 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 2 picks, and it was without Marvin Harrison Jr. Michael Wilson, 15 for 185. McBride, 10 for 115 and a touchdown. He's just been unbelievable with Jacoby Brissett. Greg Dortch, 6 for 66 and a touchdown. But it wasn't enough because their defense got exposed here. Brock Purdy comes back his first game, and he was awesome. 19 for 26, 200 yards, 3 touchdowns, 2 of which to George Kittle, 1 of which to Christian McCaffrey, what you'd expect. And then McCaffrey added 2 more on the ground for 3 total touchdowns. Phenomenal game from this Niners offense. And with Brock Purdy back, shit, if that's what we're see every week, watch out for these Niners.
It is kind of wild. Michael Wilson, 15 for 185, but in his first 9 games, he had 22 catches, and then in his 10th game, 15 catches. So he almost he doubled his total in one game, which is insane. I mean,
in week 11 too. That's nuts. That is nuts.
Like you said, McBride's been insane as well. Oh my gosh. I mean, he's so freaking good. And damn, I might be a year late on him to lead the league in receptions. He's 5th right now, and he'll catch up to Chase with Chase missing next week.
Yeah, dude, he's just been so freaking good. He's just in a different level right now, the tight end position compared to everyone else. It is unbelievable. But I tell you what, it looks like we're gonna have 3 NFC West teams in the playoffs. Niners, Seahawks, Rams all feel like they're gonna make it in.
Although, yeah, but then you see the Bears, Packers, Lions. So one of those teams might not make it. Well, actually, one of those teams definitely won't make it. And 2, also Panthers, Bucks are both battling too. So it'll be very interesting.
Yes. All right. Moving on here. Back to the AFC. The Ravens win yet again. They're 4th in a row, 23-16 over the Browns, who are now 2-8. And yeah, their season is absolutely chalked. I want to spend more time on the Browns, so we'll start with the Ravens. Lamar, not great. Threw 2 picks, only threw for 193. It was fine, though. I mean, Zay Flowers, 3 for 78. No one else really did much through the air. But Derrick Henry going for 100 yards and a touchdown was awesome. And then, of course, Mark Andrews with the fake tush-push, end-around, 35-yard rushing touchdown, the first of his career to really seal this win for Baltimore. What a great play call. And phenomenal execution. I know Mark Andrews could move like that still. So that was pretty good to see. And their defense has really turned a corner. Another big performance out of them. For the Browns, Dylan Gabriel leaves with injury, 7 of 10 for 68 yards. And in comes Shedeur Sanders. 4-16, 47 yards and an interception. I don't want to shit on it too much because the run game was not able to get going. Judkins 17 for 59. That offensive line is just not really creating a lot of running room, right? But did you see Josina Anderson's tweets?
Saw a lot of wild takes and tweets and comments and thoughts on everything Shedeur.
Everyone was flaming her. She goes, Shedeur without first team reps. It's like, why is this the only player you make that excuse for?
Yeah.
No starter, especially at quarterback in the NFL. Like, if you're not starting, you're not getting first-team reps, especially at quarterback. That's just not how it works with any team. And it's like
Cam
all
Newton
these
was
former
saying
players.
the same thing on First Take.
It's like, what are you talking about? Shedeur with no first-team reps throws a pick. It's like, this has been a thing with backup quarterbacks for the last fucking 60 years. What are we talking about here? And then
it's because Kevin Stefanski hates him.
Apparently that's the talk, is that he hates him. Like, maybe he does hate him. I mean, I don't know. But do you think Kevin Stefanski's not going to put the best guy forward to win games? Like, it's just crazy to me. Like, Stefanski's on the hot seat right now, and he's been a former coach of the year twice. So, like, he's going to do what he needs to do to win games. And Shedeur showed you that he's not the guy that's going to do that for you right now. And the funniest tweet is Josina Anderson saying the against all odds 3rd and 10 completion. It was a fucking check down into the flat to Judy, who made people miss to get it. It's like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, what? That wasn't some crazy throw from Shedeur Sanders. This is ridiculous. And everyone hates her. I know the Giants fans all hate her because, like, in the preseason, they're like, close your eyes, Giants fans, when Shedeur made a touchdown pass in the preseason. And everyone's like, fuck you. Like, oh my God. Why are we just deep-throating Shedeur so hard?
I mean, he's going to start next week. It sounds like Gabriel's going to miss with the concussion. So
yeah.
Will be very interesting to see him get a full week of first-team reps. I'll probably take some props on him just because.
Yeah, he's going to have first-team reps. So, I mean, it's not going to be
Big
hard
dog?
for him to remove.
Big dog?
No fucking way. There's no chance I'm putting Shedeur Sanders in there, dude.
Big dogs?
That's crazy. 4 for 16 with a pick. Like, he can't do much worse next week. But he'll have first-team reps, so there goes Josina's excuse for him.
There it goes. There it goes. I mean, the Ravens really let the Browns hang around in this one. Hey, Browns defense is elite. That is for sure. That's why, you could really take them to cover in any game because that defense will keep them in every single game.
That is true. But unfortunately, their offense is so bad, they don't win those games.
No, nope, that is true. That is true. It was very, very rough to watch that offense. And the Ravens just keep getting it done. They're right back in it. Right
Find
back
a
in it.
way.
And
They're right
5
there,
and
dude. I
5.
think they're going to win the division. And my Super Bowl prediction, I think I have Ravens over Lions, is not dead. Both teams are on the outside looking in right now, but it's not dead.
And they get the Jets this week as 13-point home favorites. So should be
wow,
looking pretty good to get back
easy
over
survivor
500.
pick. Easy survivor pick if you got Baltimore, which
Well,
you
that
probably do.
Seattle against the Titans. You definitely got two options.
Yeah, those are both really good options.
Or the Lions at home against the Giants. There's looking early on. There's
A lot of chalk.
three double digit chalk options next weekend. So looking like not a lot of teams going to get bounced again.
All right, moving on to the game of the 4:00 slate. Denver beats KC 22-19.
Yeah.
They improved to 9-2, including 6-0 at Mile High. Chiefs 5-5, including 1-4 on the road. Not what we're accustomed to in KC. Mahomes 276, a touchdown, a pick, like not that bad. It was Kareem Hunt 13 for 59 and a touchdown on the ground. No one else got a carry besides Mahomes, 1 carry for 3 yards. Interesting. Mahomes has been using his legs a lot. Denver really had a game plan to limit him from getting outside the pocket. Receiving wise, Rashee got pretty clamped. Xavier Worthy continues his big sophomore slump of a season, to be honest with you. I don't think you could start him right now, only having 3 for 25. He's been bad. But Travis Kelce, 9 for 91, a touchdown, just turning back the clock. He says he feels younger than ever. Maybe he wasn't lying because he's playing some good ball right now. For Denver, Bo Nix didn't throw a touchdown, didn't throw a pick, but he did throw for 295 yards against a legit KC defense. Run game was not there. McLaughlin scored. Harvey 11 for 30. So we talked about that a little bit earlier. Like to see some improvement there from Harvey. But Troy Franklin, another good game, 4 for 84. Pat Bryant, 5 for 82. The rookie is starting to emerge as that number 3 option behind Sutton and Franklin. So, hey, they got the win. It was a battle of the defenses, but what a massive, massive game. Because if you lose here, you're 8-3, Chiefs 6-4. Like, you're still worried about Mahomes breathing down your neck despite having a 2-game lead. So this gave him a lot of breathing room. 3.5 games above KC now in the division. The way the Chargers looked, things are looking good in Denver, Colorado.
Yeah. Now, defense, unbelievably sick. And the best part is they're doing all this without Pat Surtain. So they're going to get even better very soon. Hopefully they figure out the offense. But then again, man, I mean, look at Philly right now. Their defense looks sick as well, and their offense doesn't look great. So it may not matter. It may not matter as long as your defense is keeping it close. And you get it to the fourth quarter and you're in it. Bo Nix will seal it when it matters. It is crazy how good he is in the fourth quarter compared to the rest of the game. He becomes Superman when it's the fourth quarter, and just all of a sudden all of his struggles go away. It's every game this season. It feels like they're either losing or they're barely up or it's close, regardless of what it is. Bo Nix in the fourth quarter, lock it in.
It is nuts. I mean, that's the recipe for success in the postseason. If it doesn't catch up to you and you have a dud in one fourth quarter, right? Like we've seen quarterbacks become postseason legends just with the fourth quarter performances and the clutch gene. So with a defense like that, if you put the ball in Bo Nix's hands, like right now, you have confidence he's going to get you a win.
Oh, for sure. For sure.
All right, man. Let's wrap up tonight's pod with Sunday Night Football. The Eagles just find a way to win yet again, 16-9. This defense is unbelievable with Jalen Carter, Quinyon Mitchell. I mean, Jalen Phillips playing great too. Him getting traded over from Miami. Offensively, it's crazy how much this Eagles team has fallen off from last year. You got to think it's the offensive line, man. But, Barkley 26 for 83, not what you're accustomed to seeing. Hurts 14-28 for 135. There's reports coming out that a lot of players on the offense are frustrated that, especially with zone coverage, he's not giving them opportunities to win in contested catch situations. It's a lot of checkdowns. It's him just getting outside the pocket. So the passing game's just not there. I mean, Devontae Smith 1 for 8 in this game. He's been really good. He's had some monster games. To him, only have 1 catch is just crazy to me. A.J. Brown 7 for 49 on 11 targets. Like that's not great either. But they still found a way to win the game because their defense shut down Detroit, man. Goff 255, a touchdown, a pick. Jahmyr Gibbs 5 for 107 receiving. I mean, that's crazy. He had 12 for 39 on the ground. Another game, Montgomery really doesn't do shit. So I think he's fine on your bench as well. Amon-Ra St. Brown only 2 for 42 on 12 targets. How does that happen?
Quintanamo Bay, I guess.
Quintanamo Bay. Jameson Williams 4 for 88, had the touchdown on that dig route. So had him separate and get in. But other than that, the Detroit offense could not get into the end zone and make this closer game.
Yeah, that is kind of wild that he was 2 for 12 or 2 catches on 12 targets.
Never happened, especially with St. Brown.
He really could have had.
Yeah, especially with St. Brown. That just never happens with him.
Yeah, and I mean, with your Montgomery thing, I think he could hit. He's a matchup-dependent guy now. If it's a game that you think could be a shootout or a game they could be trailing, maybe hits the bench. If it's one they think, like this week against the Giants, I think he's very much in play.
They have the worst run defense in the league, so yeah, it's in play.
But in a matchup where you think they may be trailing or it's going to be a shootout, like, yeah, you might want to temper expectations, knowing that he's not going to get as much goal line work. And there's a chance that, if they are down, like he's not going to be in, it's going to be Gibbs. He's obviously the better receiving back. For the Eagles, yeah, I mean, not super thrilled with the offense at all. But I mean, hey, that's another week that you held a very good offense to under double-digit points again. So if they start to figure out the offense, like they may run away with another Super Bowl right now with the way this defense is playing.
They're still 8-2. They're still dealing with the in-season drama like they do, but it doesn't matter. They just win winning, games. Bro. If they were losing and they were around a 500 team, like shit could blow up on them with the way the offense has looked. But when you keep winning, it just solves everything. And there's no doubt. Say what you want about Jalen Hurts. There's no doubt the guy's a fucking winner.
Yeah. No, I mean, he's got to have one of the best records all time as a starting quarterback thus far.
Yeah.
Like, I'd be curious his winning percentage, and they get Dallas on the road next week. So should be another win. And that's also a good get-right game. I mean, Dallas's defense, we're recording while this game's going on. They're obviously killing the Raiders. I think it's 31-9 right now. So,
yeah.
That could be the fact that they're playing the Raiders, but it looks like Quinnen Williams is already having an immediate impact, and the bye week, the combo of both, into their success, because I know he already had a sack has a sack and a half tonight. So, maybe Dallas won't be as easy, but I'll be curious to see if the Eagles can turn it around after 2 lackluster weeks in a row on offense.
I agree. Well, Felt fans, that wraps up another week of the NFL season. Crazy. We're already through 11 weeks, but we got week 12 predictions coming for you later this week, as we always do. For all you that tuned in for the week 11 pod, I think we got like 370 views. Let's all come back for the week 12 prediction pod. We'll catch you soon here on Around the Felt.
Yeah, come on back if you know what's